Hey guys, hello again. Today I'm going to be doing, and I'm walking uphill, so I apologize, as I many times often am. So if I'm a little out of breath, you'll understand why. What I'm going to be doing, I'm going to show you the home, even though it's directly in the sunlight now. So I'm taking a little walk. The sun will get lower, and hopefully it'll be easier to film. Look at this gate across the way. I know I get sidetracked, but that's something, huh? That's Beverly Hills for you. This is Beverly Hills north of Sunset Boulevard. Come on. Where all the really hot properties are. And I'm going to be showing you the home of Don Rickles today. A very quiet neighborhood. In fact, this street is one of the last streets, if not the last street, on the residential part of Sunset Boulevard before we get into the Sunset Strip. And it's all restaurants, nightclubs, and commercial establishments on the strip. So this is really kind of the border, the boundary line between residential Sunset and commercial Sunset. Anyway, so let's talk about the man for a minute. Mr. Warmth, Don Rickles. I met him once in Malibu, and now I see that he also had a home in Malibu, but today I'm filming his home in Beverly Hills. Also a lot easier to get to. So let's see when we can start talking about Don Rickles, Mr. Warmth. His father, and his real name was Don Rickles, by the way. His father, Max Rickles, actually came from Russia in 1903. Eastern Europe is very common for Eastern European Jews to make the exodus to New York City or to New Jersey or Boston or even Canada at that time. Mostly, I guess, New York and Boston and Chicago, escaping the Kazakhs, later to be replaced by the communists and the persecution. So he came in 1903, and Don's mother, Etta Feldman, was already here in the United States when they met. When Max and Etta met, Etta was already here in the United States. Her parents had been from the quote-unquote old country, but she had been born here. Don went to high school, of course, in New York City, and he grew up in Jackson Heights. And after that, he enrolled, and did I say enrolled? I'm still thinking about high school. He enlisted in the Navy during World War II. And he was on a, excuse me, I'm referring to my notes here. He was on a torpedo boat. And he was honorably discharged in 1946. So what else you can tell about him? He wanted to be an actor pretty early on, so he went to actually my alma mater, the American Academy of Dramatic Arts, although there are two locations, one in the Los Angeles area in Pasadena and one in New York City. He went to the one in New York. And after that, like with so many young actors or actors of any age, it was difficult to get work, so he started doing stand-up. And he kind of quickly got into the insult comedian. That was kind of his thing. And it wasn't, I don't believe it was too prevalent in those days. Of course, it would never fly today with political correctness and so-called cancel culture. He'd be gone in a second. But Don was kind of like South Park still, as an equal opportunity offender. He made fun of everybody, including himself and his tribe. He made fun of everybody, but he also professed to love everybody, and I believe that. I really do believe that. He ran into Frank Sinatra pretty early in his career, and boy, did that really help him, because Sinatra, in fact, he insulted Sinatra, but Sinatra said it was great. He thought it was very funny. Probably admired anybody who was willing to insult him in a comedic way, and Sinatra recommended him and said to other people, you got to see this guy Rickles. So he helped him along the way, and through the years, it's interesting if you watch, not necessarily the roasts, but the Tonight Show and interviews when Sinatra and Rickles were together on the Tonight Show in particular. I mean, he'll do things, Rickles did things that nobody else will do. He'd run over and he ran over, and I think twice I've seen one goes over and either kisses Sinatra on the mouth or he comes pretty damn close. So Sinatra's just busting up. He doesn't know what to do. And he's throwing Rickles off him, and it's just hilarious. He could get away with so much. In fact, what I love was Don Rickles would routinely sort of refer to Frank Sinatra's mafia connections and get away with it. He was like the only one that could reference them, and he'd make up kind of fake Italian words, and he'd say, then don't have me whacked, don't have me, thrown in cement by your buddies. I mean, he was referencing something that quite understandably Sinatra was very leery of discussing, and would never fully discuss his entire life, his mob connections, which were very important to him in his career. But he let Rickles tease him about it all the time. So Rickles ended up, doing the comedy circuit in Miami and Los Angeles, Chicago, and then he started getting films. Switch here. He started getting films and TV. He had a series for a while called CPO Sharkey. I remember that. The Don Rickles Show. And of course the roasts. I mean, the Dean Martin roasts were just unbelievably funny. I don't know about you, but other than maybe Robin Williams, Don Rickles could have me laughing, particularly on those roasts where your sides are going to split. And it's amazing because in those days, in the 70s, 60s and 70s, you could quote unquote make fun of people and get away with it without, I'm not saying it's right or it's wrong, but there was not a sensitivity level. Everybody laughed. Everybody was laughing with Don and with everybody else. Just thought it was very funny. So anyway, another thing about Rickles was that I loved what he did. He would always, and he did this during the roasts, and he did this on the Tonight Show, and this was kind of his thing. He'd say at the end of a roast, literally, insulting and roasting people, he'd say, "But I want to say in all sincerity," and then he'd say something in all sincerity about the individual he was talking about. He'd say, "This guy or this woman is such a fine person. I value their friendship so much, and they've done so much for me, and they're fine." And he would mean it, and that would really get the audience going. And it was very emotional moments all the time. And Rickles was known to be what's called in Yiddish, a good Yiddish cup. Translates basically to a good Jewish boy, a good head on his shoulders. And Rickles was very devoted to his mother. And because of that, when he saw a man in particular, or he knew of a man in particular who was very devoted to his mother, as was Rickles, he would really think highly of them, as he did with Elvis. And he said, among other things about Elvis, he said, Elvis was so devoted to his mother, who unfortunately passed away so young, which clearly, unfortunately, very adversely affected the rest of Elvis's life. Rickles really, look at these gates. Rickles really admired the fact that Elvis was so close to his mother Gladys. So, that was very important to him. That was part of Rickles' value system and who he was and what was important to him. So what I'm saying is that another reason I find him so fascinating is he was unbelievably funny, but he seemed to have a really good heart. He wasn't an arrogant a-hole, as so many celebrities are. He didn't rub people the wrong way in general. He seemed to be a good guy and got along with people and appreciated the success he had had. He said he wasn't romantically successful in his 20s and 30s, so he didn't get married until he was, I believe, 38 years old. And he used to talk about this a lot, too, on The Tonight Show, Johnny Carson, various things. And, he said that he just, like I said, he just wasn't successful with women. No, he did finally meet the woman, that would become his wife. I'm going to show you some of the films here. The woman who would become his wife, he said what really impressed him more than anything was she didn't think he was funny. And I remember Robin Williams once being asked, I think it was about his second wife, Marcia, "Is there anybody who doesn't think you're funny?" He said, "Yeah, my wife." I guess that's usually the way it goes, huh? Anyway, so he just was kind of last in that generation of seemed like a good guy from what I've heard and from what I've seen, a good, solid guy. There's that fence we were at before. He was also a hell of a dramatic actor. He was in a lot of dramatic films as well, and in the 60s, 70s, and most notably Casino in 1995. And he did a great job as the casino manager. working directly with Robert De Niro. So if you haven't seen Casino, it's sort of a counterpart to Goodfellas. Same team, Nick Pileggi and Marty Scorsese wrote the script based on books Pileggi wrote, and um, films directed by Scorsese. But that's for another version. That's for another vlog. So I'll be back with you in a second. All right, well, I had a little bit of a sneezing attack there. That happens with these spring days in Southern California. The winds kick up, or the breeze kicks up, and I tend to sneeze. Anyway, in a minute, we're going to be at the house. I will try to provide as much coverage as I can, even though the sun is shining on it, and there's also some landscaping guys that are working on it, which is almost every big house in Los Angeles, almost every day. Okay, we'll be back with you in a second. Okay, so we're coming up to the house here, folks. Seems to be an awfully loud dog barking at us. Me and him. He doesn't even know we're here yet. The sun's set a little bit, so it's a little easier to see. Okay. It's actually the next one. I'm incorrect. It's this house right here. So, not very ostentatious. I know you're going to know that's one of my favorite words. For a Beverly Hills home. Come here. Don't go on their grass. Come here. Actually, it looks like a house in the desert in Palm Springs, where I'm sure he also had a home where I grew up. Beautiful gates there, so the house is a little set back. So yes, some of the vlogs are more meaningful to me than others because I am a personal fan of the individual in question, and I certainly love the work of Don Rickles. And like I said, I sense that he was a good guy who probably had some emotional pain, as most comics do. But you know, there's either a resident or the landscaping guy. But that also, you know, was a solid guy, World War II vet, so on and so forth. Let's see if we can show from behind. I don't know who this guy is. So in case he happens to live there, you know, we want to honor privacy. But there's still the home behind me, shooting into the sun, not too easy to see. So this beautiful long driveway. Don Rickles lived to be 90. And I believe his wife died about 4 years after he did. There's another shot of the house. That's a good shot. Into the shade. Okay, folks. Well, thank you for watching, and thank you for listening to this video on the home of Don Rickles. Actually, I don't believe this is his last. I think he was in the Malibu home towards the end of his life, although he died in Beverly Hills, because my research shows he was here from the 50s to the 90s. People coming up the street, first people I've seen. So I don't think it was the last house. But anyway, I'm going to sign off for now. My name is Ron, and here's the house behind me again. If you enjoy my channel, please subscribe. If you do subscribe, please press the bell icon next to the subscribe button. That'll alert you as to when I post. And please, more importantly than ever, please give me likes. That'll really promote the channel. And comment in the comment section if you see fit. Okay, folks, thank you. Nice talking to you. Nice seeing you again, seeing you virtually anyway. And we'll see you at the next location. Bye-bye. Thank you.